So let's start with the cross-industry collaboration, which is really key in terms of building a sustainable food system. So my question is, how are you working with partners outside the F&B sector, such as logistics, technology, and the government, to create a more integrated approach to food waste reduction? And Khuloud, maybe I can start with you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm delighted to be here today. Thanks to the organizers for organizing such a great event. This is a topic that I'm very passionate about. So I just want to echo some of the statistics that you have just highlighted, both you and Jesse, earlier on. And just to add to that, that actually food loss and waste is a serious problem that has huge impact on the environment, on our social lives, and also on the economy. And basically, if we think of food waste as a country, it will be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases, which has also huge implications on climate change. And that's what many of us don't know or don't see and realize. As you mentioned, 1/3 of the amount of food produced annually goes to waste. In the UAE context, we import almost 80 to 90% of our food. So it's really a shame to be able it's really a shame to actually waste almost 30 to 35% of that, noting the cost that you mentioned, which is around 6 billion dirhams annually are wasted on food waste. So really, this is why Na'ma was formed, to actually address food waste as one of the strategic pillars of the food security strategy. And it's all about collaboration. So the initiative is actually a collaboration between the Emirates Foundation, the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment, and the Presidential Court, with the aim to really reflect His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed's vision in terms of addressing overconsumption and food waste, and be able to promote more sustainable practices, shift people's mindsets to conserving food, to make sure that we are inspiring them to cherish food as a blessing, and that's really the meaning of Na'ma. Also, basically to create a collective movement towards promoting the use of more sustainable practices across the supply chain, because when food is wasted or food is lost, it is lost across the supply chain, all the way starting at the farmer's end as a result of logistical issues, poor harvesting techniques, storage issues, but also at the other side of the supply chain, at the retailers end, at the food services end. This is a very hospitable culture. It's a culture, unfortunately, of many buffets where a lot of food tends to be wasted. There's a lot of surpluses. And this is where we tend to immediately think, it's actually the food services and the food and beverage sector are the ones who are creating a lot of food waste. But actually, we need to think about ourselves as consumers, as individuals, because according to statistics, the bulk of the waste happens at the household level. So there are many areas where food is being lost or wasted. And to be able to address and identify all these hotspots of where we're wasting the most, we need to have collective effort, we need to have collective action. And this is why Na'ma is collaborating with all sectors across the supply chain to address the problem. In the last 2 years, we've been working closely with the hospitality sector to look at behavioral science or behavioral nudges as interventions, simple things that we are changing in the settings that allow us to reduce food waste. And through the different pilots and the scale-ups that we have done that included more than 190 hotel sites, we've actually managed to reduce food waste up to 60% in many of these settings. So we're already achieving results in that space. However, we feel that this is a long-term goal where NAMA really aims to reduce food waste by 50% by the year 2030. And there is a lot more that needs to be done through NAMA's collaborative approach to achieve its 5 key objectives, and that is really to increase the level of awareness of the UAE community through awareness campaigns, through educational programs, but also to look at, as I mentioned, collaboration and partnership is key. We cannot achieve this goal in isolation. We need to collaborate with everyone across the supply chain. We need to also look at policies and regulations that allow us to create a more enabling environment. And what is really important, and I know many of the sessions today have highlighted the importance and the use of innovation and technology. And that is really pivotal to the success of reducing food loss and waste, because working with new innovations, with startups that have new ideas that help us address some of these challenges that we're facing across the supply chain, we're able to create more efficiencies, we're able to redirect food from being wasted, and we are able to use these technologies to scale up at a much faster rate. So this is really where I see collaboration is key.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing the progress up to date. It's a fantastic achievement, even in a short time. Ovi, I would like to get your feedback on the same question.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. With regards to technology, and what we need to do is to be constantly informed from our technical partners of what innovations they are out there. And by building bridges with them, they will automatically come to us with ideas of their own that they have studied in time and they made it work for us to trial and implement and see the success. Mm-hmm. Because it all starts with an idea that will then germinate and get us on to the next level. Now, with regards to the government relations, the government will always act as a referee with regards to all the operating businesses out there in any government, and they will see best practices. They will see also what would suit a certain region, what would suit another region, and they will not necessarily only enforce things, but suggest things to many other businesses of how good looks like, and also to be able to sustain all the effort, because all changes will need to be done within the government's regulations and the rules. Now, with regards to logistics, that is quite an important area where food waste might occur. So, from our perspective, what would be viable is to have very solid partners that have been with businesses and they have proven their track record of being potentially the best in the business. And our company, Tanmiah, is also trying to nurture these partnerships and get the feedback from all logistic departments, and everybody that can come up with a solution for something will be we will be more than happy to listen to. So I believe that we can dwell for a long time with regards to these three topics. And I would also like to share the opinions of my honorable colleagues in here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Shehzad?
Okay, so Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here today, and this is a very important topic. We have, as a management consulting business, we work very closely with food and beverages companies across the Middle East region. And we try to focus on the entire ecosystem, which is end-to-end. So be it the manufacturers, be it the distributors, retailers, we work very closely with them. Now, commonly, what we have seen is that definitely, if you look at the whole ecosystem, there are these big, large companies that are there and which have the know-how, the technology, the muscles to do things that the way they can do, and they can invest the money to do it. But always 70 to 80% of the economy is made up of small to medium enterprise. And when we look at, when she was talking about the hotspots that the wastage happens at multiple points, we need to look at the participation of these companies and how we can bring more economic benefits to them. Because when we talk about it from a very large picture perspective, we talk about 1/3 of the food is wastage. If we talk about it into how many tons is wasted and what's the population impact of it, which is great motivation to do something about it. But when we go at the level of the small to medium enterprise, what we really see is that if for them it's all about profitability, survival, and economic value. And they may not look at that 1 or 2 or 3% that gets wasted from their end, but when you put the cumulative of all of that together, you're having a big number. So how do you incentivize them? Now, in terms of technology, yes, there is technology. We are today, as a human race, we are probably at the forefront of technology. We have the most advanced technology that we have right now, and more is coming through. Similarly, if you look at in terms of the knowledge and the experience, it does exist. But how do we make this experience trickle down? How do we make that experience shared among these people? How do we bring the best practices that exist today to them so that they can start seeing the economic value of it? Because the moment somebody sees an economic value in any activity, the participation level goes up. And those economic value can only be created when we study the whole system from a large perspective, but also a very micro level perspective, and start collecting the data. Yes, there is big data available, but also the detailing of that is missing. So the more detailed data we have, the more processes are defined properly, the more technology becomes accessible to the people at the real bottom end of the market, and we are able to bring that together. And in terms of awareness campaigns that we talk about, sometimes the motivation levels are very high. For example, during Ramadan, we see a lot of good campaigns which is happening, and you see people actually participating a lot and talking about it. But that sort of fizzles out during the rest of the year. So it's more of that discipline and that focus and commitment to the cause, making sure that the entire community is participating into it. And there is a lot of experience sharing happening across the industry. The technology becomes accessible to the people within the pyramid, and a lot of extensive training is given to the people. So when the technology, the training, the accessibility, the sharing of the knowledge, all of these start to happen through multiple platforms, we will start to see the change. Now, we may not go from a very bad scenario to an excellent scenario, but we'll start to see the progress happening as we go along. So the process has to start. The dialogue has already started. We have started companies highlighting the numbers, big numbers are being put. There's a lot of motivation. But I still believe that the incentive part of it, the economic incentive part of it, is a big piece which is missing, which should be brought into the equation.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, the economic value, because sustainability used to be a nice fuzzy word companies were using, but now there's actually value in it. So you can actually make money.
Absolutely.
By going after sustainable solutions. So thank you for raising that. Anurag, I would like to also get your opinion on this question.
Sure. So look, we are all graduates of WhatsApp universities nowadays. So the way the food is classified is, it is either a carbohydrate or a fat or a protein. So similarly, like for us, Ghurair Foods, we operate in all the three value chains. So to start with, say for example, carbohydrate, we operate in wheat value chain. And very soon we are investing for a new plant in Shehzad on the corn value chain, wherein we are going to process corn, make starch, modified starch, liquid glucose, maltodextrin. Currently we operate flour mills in UAE, in Saudi, in Sudan, and in Sri Lanka. So to describe you a wheat value chain, you start from wheat, you basically import the wheat. grind it, and the only waste it comes out is basically the bran, or wheat offal as we call it. Now that wheat offal, the wastage, what we do is we convert that into animal feed. So we add lot more soya meal, we add corn, and basically make either the livestock feed or a poultry feed. And that feed is fed to our own farms. So we run the largest layer farm in Ras Al Khaimah, and we are putting up a very big broiler farm in Shehzad as we speak. So that same feed is fed to the chickens, and that is what the protein comes out. So that is the protein value chain. So coming back to your question in terms of the collaboration, I would like to highlight the third value chain which we operate in is at fat. So what we do is we import canola seeds from all over the world, mostly from Canada and Australia, grind it, and then basically convert into 450,000 tons of oil or 550,000 of meal. Now, to transport this out, basically you can understand the kind of challenge because that is coming to the collaboration which we have with DP World. We are the largest consumers of their services in Jebel Ali. We use close to 70,000 TUs every year. So every day 200 containers have to basically transport our goods in and out because we operate in the space where all our products are perishable. They have a very limited shelf life. And if you are not running the factory continuously, you can be dead. I was in Nigeria for almost 8 years, and the biggest challenge there was to take a truck from the factory to the port itself could take you a couple of days. And that is where we are blessed to be in Dubai and have a fantastic collaborative partnership with DP World, which actually helps us move all these goods in and around from our factory and keep our factories running.
Amazing, thank you. Now let's move on to innovation, which is obviously something very close to my heart. Innovation is actually very impactful also when we're tackling food waste. So the question, I want to actually start with you, Shehzad, this time. So innovation, from your perspective, what are the most promising innovations or emerging technologies that could significantly reduce food waste in the coming years?
I think, so we have spoken a lot about artificial intelligence and generative AI and also the predictive AI in the past. And we know that a lot of, within the entire ecosystem, within a lot of hotspots, the information sharing is the key that we have. I'll take a simple example today. In terms of infrastructure today, UAE has one of the most advanced infrastructure in the world. In terms of direct to home, the delivery, the last mile delivery, we have a huge network of bikers which are there today. And we were talking about food wastage that happened at the level of the food service or the F&B outlets that is there. Now, since these two ecosystems exist, but still the connectivity is the one which is missing. So the technology is there. So we've got three ecosystems working independent to each other. It's that connectivity of these multiple systems coming together which will make the major impact. So it's not that individual technologies do not exist. They do exist today in multiple formats. So it's about getting the IT bit of it, the software bit of it, it's getting the infrastructure bit of it, it's getting that collaboration between different industries together under one umbrella and create that model which then starts to work on its own. So sustainability works when different technologies work in collaboration with each other, with the infrastructure and the human resources. So the skill development is also a big portion that can happen along with the technology, because technology by itself does not solve any problem unless people know how to use the technology. So we see a lot of advanced technology presentations, we see a lot of people talking about very high-end new things coming up. But if people are not skilled and trained to use them, we are not able to leverage them to the full extent of what they are supposed to. And it should be across the board through multiple sectors. That's how those collaborations are what is going to make the big difference.
Absolutely. Thank you. Khuloud?
I mentioned earlier that actually innovation and technology is one of the key pillars in Ni'ma, and this is where we collaborated with the Food Tech Challenge in the last 2 years, and actually now recently in the last week we just announced the third cycle of the Food Tech Challenge, which really is all about investing in startups that have innovative ideas that address food loss and waste, In the past, we have worked with many of these technologies, whether it's applications that redirect food surpluses, that also help us in the tracking of data, which is something you just highlighted. I believe this is really important because this is one of the key gaps that currently exists in the food ecosystem, the absence and the lack of data. What doesn't get measured doesn't get managed properly. So one of the things that Naama is trying to do is really building the actual measurement and data around food loss and waste, so that in the last few weeks we kick-started our first UAE baseline study, which will help us measure actual food loss and waste. The outcome of that is to have UAE indices for food loss and for food waste that we are able to track, and we are able to measure our performance in terms of reaching our reduction targets against that baseline. So this is one way of using technology, but also utilizing technologies that help us manage waste better. And on the compositing side, we have worked with many technologies who turn unusable food waste into other usable products. We've worked with technologies that have smart fridges that allow us to redistribute surplus food. So there are many different ideas if are integrated in the food ecosystem, will help create a lot of food waste reduction, will create better efficiencies in terms of managing food waste, whether it's edible or unedible waste. And this is where we see that there is huge potential to actually expand and scale some of these startups. One of the key challenges has been really providing access to the industry to actually realize the potential of these startups. And I think where we were able to be successful is once we've tested ideas with them, which is something that was also highlighted earlier by one of my colleagues here, is really to look at how do we scale up, how do we test, how do we trial, and then take it to the next level of scaling up these new innovations to create bigger impact, and to also track data and to realize some of the cost savings and the efficiencies that were highlighted earlier as well.
Absolutely. Anurag, would you like to comment?
Sure. I think you touched a very important topic on the innovation part per se, so I'll just like to give you one small example which we are experimenting with. As we speak, we are commissioning a liquid egg factory in Shehzad. So what we do is we take the eggs, basically crush it, pasteurize, and basically sell the liquid eggs. But in the process, you almost generate 3 to 4 tons per day of shells. Okay, so that's one part of the problem. The second part is, as I told you, basically we also have the UAE's biggest layer farm in Ras Al Khaimah. So there, every day you generate 70 tons of chicken manure. Now you have two problems. One side you are generating the chicken manure, the other side you are generating the shells. Now both of them can go to landfills very easily, but what we are trying to do is we are putting both of them together. We are tying up with BR to basically buy some green waste, and we are now working with an Australian company which is doing a bacterial solution. So what you do is you put all the things together. The way you look at it is basically the manure has the nitrogen part because it has NH3. The shells has basically the phosphorus. And you put all the three things together, NPK, that is what you require for the soil. So this technology, it's a very innovative one wherein they will basically put a bacterial solution, put all the three things together and rest it for some time, and eventually it becomes soil. It becomes a soil where you can actually grow trees. So that is the kind of technology innovation which we are trying to experiment with, because our scale is huge and we need something, and in GCC the value of soil is huge. So what we believe is this is something which can be a really transformative innovation, and we really look forward to concluding these trials.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing those examples. They make it very real, huh?
I think I'd just like to highlight also the importance of creating circularity in that closing the loop aspect, where actually you are reducing the amount of food waste that ends up in landfill. Also, this is something we are trying to apply in Naama, where we're making sure that food waste is diverted from landfill by redirecting the surpluses to people who need it the most, and the unedible is being similarly composited and turned into fertilizer or soil. This way you are creating a much more impactful circular economy model. Thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you. Ovi, from poultry side of things, any comment?
Yes, we have a lot of innovative ideas that we are currently doing in Tanmiah Foods. And to relate to the food waste conversion, we have established a system of treating the wastewater coming from the processing plants into irrigation water for planting trees in the middle of the desert. So Tanmiah has a project to reach 1 million trees by 2025. We are currently at 450,000 trees across 3 sites, 3 locations, and we have recently acquired a 4th one that will host itself 250,000, all using wasted water that instead of being disposed of, we have invested in technology with regards to treatment that will allow us to use it as water for the trees plantation. What we're also doing is converting all the poultry waste from the processing plants into fertilizer, which we have established quite a line of customers, and the quality of that fertilizer, it's becoming well known in the business, and we are striving to achieve more with regards to the level of quality and its application. Now, with regards to automation as an innovative area, we have seen that everybody likes machinery, everybody likes the latest of late technology for whatever reason, to get better results, to get faster results, to be more efficient. And I have seen throughout the years a shift in the producers of the technological equipment's mindsets. Whilst, let's say, 10, 15 years ago, their main focus was to design a certain machine to do a certain operation. But their perspective was more like an engineer's one, rather than a poultry individual person. And for the last 5, 10 years, I have seen them coming more often into the operational level and understanding what is it that is left from our operation, and how do we convert that into the next level of product. So more and more ideas have come up stemming from that initiative, and I am happy that the shift has occurred, because myself, personally, being an operations individual, I like data, I like facts, I like to compare, and I want to see real progress. And there was discussions with regards to the efficiency of various pieces of kit, their development, and now I'm seeing more and more a shift. And that is very, very commendable. And also with regards to innovative ideas, not just technology-wise, but mindset-wise. Tanmiah has a very, very strong medicine and vaccines division that are looking a lot into improving the nutrition of the bird, which means the bird will be having a better welfare, will survive its journey better, reducing the amount of casualties, the amount of diseases, among the birds that have been grown. So we are doing a lot of ideas. We have to have a lot of ideas in order to progress.
Great, thank you for sharing that. From my side, I just want to share also upcycling is a great strategy where you can actually take a zero value product and turn it into a value added product. So now in the UAE, we see some import products that are, using ugly fruits and vegetables. I mean, these are perfectly fine, right? But they're not good enough for the consumer to maybe consume on its own. So they put it into granola bars, they put it into different types of snacks. So that's one strategy. Another one we've seen is the date seed coffee. We are blessed here with lots of different variety of dates, but the seeds are usually thrown away, right? So now we actually turn them into a coffee product, which is a great upcycling strategy. And the last one is whey protein. If you consume whey protein was actually dumped after cheese production. So it was a zero value product, and now it is a super highly valued, right, premium kind of a product. So there's always ways to turn the zero value into value added, but I think along the facts we need to think a little bit creatively as well to achieve that, but there's definitely a lot of opportunity. So we have about 5 minutes. I'm going to ask you the last question. This is all about the vision and the future that you foresee for a zero food waste future. What's the most critical change needed to make that vision a reality? And let's start with Anurag, maybe you this time.
See, you have been talking about 34% food waste. We have been talking about so much of restaurant waste and a lot of food getting wasted. We as an industry are ready to use it. We can use it either to basically convert them into soil, fertilizer, or some kind of format. Or easiest is basically we can burn them and convert into energy. We are a big user of energy also. So I think the innovation or the best vision is to basically convert all that food waste into something before they actually get converted into methane and greenhouse gases. So that speed of execution is required. I think we require a big partnership with the private sector as well as public sector and come out with a solution which we can drive it together.
Great, thank you so much. Ovi, I will come back to you.
Thank you. So sustainability is the key in here, and we need to have more synergies in between the industries, because there are still quite a lot of silos operating in the industry, and cross-industry references and partnerships will help a lot, and that normally is done via sustainability. And for example, Tanmiah is in top 3 sustainability businesses in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And we have dedicated a specific department to the sustainability. And we are looking forward to our colleagues from various other parts of the food industry to joint effort, because ideas can come out of nowhere. The human mind works better than anything, better at the moment that AI will have, better than robotics will have, because innovation comes in a flash. Somebody sees something in a certain process with a different set of eyes and will make that a viable option for ourselves. So without going into too much detail, I think that sustainability teams working in partnership together will increase the chances of reducing food waste in reality.
Great, thank you. Shehzad?
I think the most important vision probably would be that nobody should go hungry. And across the world, we produce enough food for 8 billion people, and we can easily support 10 billion people with the same amount of food. All the effort should be made to make sure that nobody is hungry. We have high quality nutritional food available for everyone. We have more than enough resources today in hand, be it technology, infrastructure, willingness, money. It's just that they all have to work together to reach that objective. That is the most important motivator or the vision that probably I'll see.
Absolutely. It's a great mission and a purpose. Khuloud, I would like to end with you.
So I echo what was highlighted already. Really partnership, collaboration, collective effort to reduce food waste is key to be able to become a nation where no food is wasted. Also, I would like to highlight the importance of starting with ourselves, behavioral change, you know. We can all take simple steps in our day-to-day life to reduce how much food is being wasted, to reduce some of the current practices in the different industries that are actually also creating waste. And collectively, we can co-create the right solutions, as highlighted earlier, to really address the root cause of the problem. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We've done great. We have 1 minute left. Any questions from the audience? Wow, lots of questions. Great. The mic is on its way.
Okay, two mics. Thanks, Khuloud, for your efforts and your efforts also in Naama Foundation. I'm from restaurant industry. Last Ramadan, I did the campaign about the waste from our open buffet. You know, more than 20% from the buffet, from open buffet, is wasting for the food. My question now for Naama especially, there is a two type of waste of food in the restaurant industry. First type is the food left over from the production, and this we can donate to any another foundation like UAE Food Bank or Naama. Another type of waste food, it's left over from customers, and this is very high, especially in Ramadan and open buffet. I did in my restaurant many competition between the guests, and I also encourage them to eat their plates, but we still have very big waste every day from our buffet. The question is, why not, if Naama Foundation takes this offer left of food and composed instead of the restaurant? Because a small restaurant doesn't have the, doesn't have the money to compose the food. Also, it will be expensive for the restaurant. Why did not, if you do this instead of the small restaurant, and there is a many small restaurant in the world, not only here. So we can see this in the future or no?
Yes. Thank you very much. Very, very important question. I think this is one of the key things that actually Naama is working on to influence one policy, because I believe there is a lot that needs to be done at the infrastructural level. One of the key things and the very important aspect that we have seen recently during a visit that we had to Denmark is the fact that they actually separate 10 items of food. They separate, they do food separation from the general waste, but they also separate 10 items from the general waste. So, number one, we are trying to work with waste management facilities and like Tadweer and others to see what are the future plans in terms of introducing waste separation, scaling up compositing across different communities, because we do see the potential of scaling up. We've seen in other countries from the best practices and the benchmarks we have seen is that compositing machines are widely available in different communities that support the compositing aspect, but also even in household communities. Today, many people are actually doing compositing in their own houses. The machines are not very costly. They are even being sold at Amazon. So really, there are different ways of doing this. Even us in Naama, we have been working with a lot of the restaurants and the hotels that have been participating with Naama to make sure that we are connecting them with the right companies that are compositing for us, and at very low cost. So really there are many ways of addressing this, and we are looking at different ways of making sure that we're having those facilitated discussions that will help us create the right infrastructure and more food is being diverted from landfill. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.